Hey, welcome to the channel. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. So we're going to just look at the marketplace for some of these comics, and I'll just give you just some of my opinions on them, whether the price is seems high or just seems different. And before I go any further into this, so if you didn't know, the last couple days, the prices for commons have gone up quite a bit. Now, so has secret rares. Some of the secret rares have gone up too. But for the percentage wise, commons have, some of them have actually doubled in price, and it's pretty crazy to see. So let's start up the top. We got Tales of Suspense. This is number 57. Sitting at $14.50 for the floor. This comic to me is a B tier comic. That price, I don't know, it's not too bad. Let's check out the secret rare for it though. $6.40. In my opinion, I think if for today's standards, I think a B tier comic for secret rare should be closer to $1,000 just right now. Eventually, I think those prices are going to be a whole lot different, and I think they're going to be a lot higher once we get more users. But for today's market, I think they actually should be closer to $1,000 for most of these B tier ones. I know a lot of people just don't really care about Hawkeye, and that's kind of the reason why that price is so low. I completely get that, but I'm thinking long term, when we have 10, 20 million users, that you're probably going to have enough Hawkeye fans to actually bring the value of that comic way up. Now, last video, I talked about Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man, pretty much gave it a C tier list, and one of my things was, I was thinking, because it's Spider-Man, and a lot of people on VeVe right now, for the 1 million users that we do have, seem to like Spider-Man a whole lot. And I was thinking that it was actually going to give it a boost to this comic. This comic's not worth a whole lot physically. I'm talking about, most people can actually afford this comic at a 9.8, like in real life. Yet, for some reason, for the prices here digitally, they are actually fairly high for this comic. It's sitting at $21 for the floor on a common. Now, the secret rare is more like a C tier comic, so it's sitting around 600. So one of them is lying to me. Which one it is, I don't know yet. Is it that the secret rare for this Spider-Man is way undervalued for today's market, or is it the common that's overvalued? So don't know yet. We'll find out here shortly, probably a week or so, let it correct. And Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Here's one of the ballers out there for Spider-Man's. Floor price $69. And then the secret rare, about 8,800. So the secret rare really hasn't changed a whole lot. It's been kind of sitting around this price for a while, as far as going anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 throughout the weeks. Journey into Mystery. This one finally got some love. This one's been undervalued for a very long time. It's at $25 for the floor. The secret rare, I think, is still undervalued on this comic based off of physical price, and that Loki is kind of a big deal. A lot of people like Loki, so I only expect this comic just to slowly rise over time. Now, it's not too far away, as you can see on my screen, that the very bottom, not the very bottom, but just the bottom of my screen, you got 41 and 4,200. So it's not too far away from a price that seems reasonable to me. To me, I actually feel like, just for today's market, just to be on the safe side, $3,000. But in reality, I actually think it should be more. But to me, anything under $3K for this comic seems, I'm not going to say a deal, but just seems undervalued. Fantastic Four number 5. So this comic, people showed me their true, knowledge for comics when this thing hit the VeVe market. One of the reasons why is, one, I was seeing the commons not sell for that great, and then I was also seeing the secret rare just getting dumped on. People were taking the secret rare, and the lowest I saw was $1,500. So somebody sold this comic for $1,500, and this comic, if you don't know, physically is like a top 15 comic, like for Marvel. Like, this comic's $1 million comic. Most people know who Doctor Doom is. The covers actually look really awesome. I love the variants. I like the secret rare. But yeah, where I'm going with this is that This to me shows you that just because I come up with a tier list and you look at it and you're like, man, it doesn't match the market price, that's because a lot of people, I don't know what they're doing. I can't like predict everybody's behavior, but it does show the lack of knowledge for some of these comics, in my opinion. New Mutants number 98. We have 17 for the floor. I will say this comic is pretty awesome. It is Deadpool. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate Deadpool, especially once he's seen in the MCU more, and who knows, maybe they have some cartoons of him. I think it'd be really cool. And I will point out that this common has twice the amount of commons than most commons out there, alright? So it sits somewhere around, I think, like 40,000 or more. So if you were to half that the supply on it, then the comic should sit somewhere around $34, $35 if it was a normal common, if you get what I mean. Secret Rare, I think that's undervalued a little bit. I think it should be closer to 2K. I think most A-tier comics should be about 2,000 easy, like floor, like that's for, because on my A-tier there are some comics that are physically less valuable than some of the other A-tiers. So, but I do think like maybe the floor for even the worst ones on there should be about 2K in my opinion. What else do we got? Hipmonkey. So there is a community that backs up this Hipmonkey comic. Not so much, I don't think for the common, but for the secret rare, it's like a secret rare club. I personally do not own one of these, and I don't know if I'll ever own one of these. Nothing against the community. I know some of the people that actually do it. It's just I don't know everybody in the community, and there is a bit of uncertainty knowing that they could organize price manipulation. Not saying the ones that I know would ever do it. I'm just saying I don't know everybody in their group. You have to have a secret rare to get in it, apparently. So I'm always a little suspicious on things like that. The comic itself doesn't really have a whole lot of value. They just appreciate it because it's, you know, it's the ape and real cool. I mean, I'll give them that. It is a neat comic. They have a little Hulu series out there. I haven't watched it yet, but I will watch it, and it's probably going to be really fun to watch. But as of right now, I kind of stay away from it. Now, if it was a lot cheaper, I would actually buy Hipmonkey just because of scarcity. So, not saying don't buy Hipmonkey just because, you know, I haven't bought it yet. But if it got cheaper for me, I probably would actually buy it. What else we got? What else have we got? Oh, Xmen. So this one's number 4. Now, when Xmen number 1 comes out, that one's going to be worth a heck of a lot. So be ready for that one whenever that one finally drops. So 1,100 for the floor. I think it should be more. 15 to 2K, in my opinion, should be the floor for this comic for today's market. But obviously, that's not the case. What else do we got? Powers of X. So Powers of X, once again, scarcity. So there's really no harm in buying this comic because of that. That actually could give it a good pump. The other thing that could actually give it a pump would be if Disney comes out with their new X-Men or mini X-Men series, and some of them are based off of Powers of X. You know, there's been rumors floating around that was the case, so we shall see if that will happen. The common, though, shows you that it is just like a basic physical, you know, low price comic, and it, you know, obviously shows it's at $12 for a floor. The rare, though, I actually like the rare. I think that's a pretty cool rare cover, and sitting at $35. Any of these other ones I haven't talked about? Haven't talked about maybe half of them so far, but looking for some like big ones. The Tales of Suspense. So this comic, check out the floor. Looks like I got a text for barbecue. So this one, we have $22 for the floor. That seems reasonable. This is a pretty pricey comic. I think maybe it should be higher than that. 1,100 seems kind of low. So over time we should expect that one to rise. I think we're getting close. That's about most of them. This one I want to say was undervalued. I remember looking at it earlier. Yeah, 750. I think that's undervalued for this. As a B-lister, I think they should be closer to 1,000. The ultra value or the ultra rare, I think, is undervalued. Ever since the gem squeeze, this one hasn't really recovered too much. So I think eventually it will, obviously, because this one is the very first VeVe exclusive variant. It's also a New York Comic Con comic. It has a lot of things going for it. The cover looks pretty awesome. It is the first appearance of Watcher. The comic itself is, man, I think it sits around 40,000 or so. So it's not a crappy comic. So I don't know why they would even have a secret rare going for 750. Now it even has been dumped on even further than that. I want to say during the gem squeeze it got down to like 550, I think. Pretty ridiculous. Once again, I don't think it deals with the lack of knowledge, and also I'm not going to always say it's lack of knowledge, because there's people that only have so much money. Say they only put $2,000 into this app, and then they manage to flip and but they're not going to ever add any more money into it. So whatever they flip is how they make their money. So I will say that does influence the market. So you're going to have some crazy prices. So maybe that person selling at 750 is eyeing something else that's really cheap right now. So they're going to sell it at 750, buy that other item. The other item goes up 40%. They sell it, and then who knows? Maybe they'll rebuy that comic. So I don't ever fully know what's their intentions, but you will see some crazy prices out there. The Eternals, so Jack Kirby one. It's one that he illustrated himself. Wrote everything on here. This is his little bad boy. Part of the MCU. It's a B tier. 650. I think it's kind of undervalued in my opinion. And the common, $15. But yeah, I mean, I can do this all day. I just kind of wanted to kind of give you my insight on some of the market prices just for today's market. And you can make your best judgments. Just use what I said, and then, if you have other people that you follow and get some insight from them, maybe you can just mix it all together and make the best decision out there. As always, thank you for watching.